Street Talk Radio LA, man. We are broadcasting live via Baltimore, Maryland, via Los Angeles, California, man. I'm your host, Big Homie Smiles, man. You can follow me on Instagram. That's big_homie Smiles with a Z, man. You can also follow my main page. It's Street Talk Radio _LA, man. That is my guy. Been ready like we've been ready for justice for Ronald Green, man. We've been ready for the police brutality against our community to stop, man. They assassin us, man, one at a time, man. Shout out to my boy JT 1800 and Vonnie Bravo, man, for giving me that exclusive. That's my dog, man. You can find that on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all streaming platforms, man. We got a wonderful show for you guys for today, man. The title of today's podcast and today's show is going to be The More You Know. The purpose of this podcast is to retell our story the correct way. History isn't our story, it's his story. As we know, they don't never tell the positive things about us as a culture and as a nation, and always amplifying and putting out there the negative things and how we always had to overcome and struggle, and you know what I'm saying? But this is a new generation. This is a new day. So the purpose of this podcast is to retell our story the correct way. History isn't our story, it's his story. And we know how distorted their memory is, you know? We know how they like to falsify things. We know how they like to make Jesus white like them. You know what I'm saying? Well, we know his head was full of wool and his skin full of bronze. I ain't see nothing white up in that. My goal is to inform my audience about the many different inventors and contributors to the things we use every day in this world. Curling iron, word processing, call ID, call waiting, nigga. We the stoplight, man. We out here inventing everything. Super soaker, the Nerf gun, dart gun. I got a whole list. What you talking about? We out here. We are gods. My goal is to inform my audience about the many different inventors and contributors to things that we use every day in this world. They will have you believe that their white skin. They will have you believe that their white skin makes them pure. We created this country and everything in it. Just know that. We no longer have to keep teaching ourselves, our kids, our friends, our families, you know, about segregation, about civil rights and slavery. That's how they keep us oppressed. And that's how they keep us accepting oppression. We shall reclaim our time by pushing propaganda and truth that needs to be pushed the right way. Oh, God. See, I'm glad this is a test drive because I cannot be stumbling through papers like this while I'm on this podcast. You hear me? I am really messing up here. Okay. Well, luckily this is a test drive. So you do a test drive. You know what I'm saying? You test drive a car. You don't never just drive the car, drive off the light. You want to test drive the car and make sure it feels right. So that's what I'm doing right now. Right now. So let me start over again because this is a test show and everything has to be perfecto. And I noticed that I'm going to need my glasses because I keep looking. My woman told me not to be looking down. Oh, not to be looking down. You know what I'm saying? When I'm reading this, it has to feel natural. People don't want to see me reading from things like that. So I need like something like a stand or something. I need like a stand or something. Because it's going to be kind of hard, man. Me not being able to read. I got to be like this. Okay, I'm going to figure it out. So let me start over again. Alrighty. Maybe I should do it on this side. How about that? This side would be better. That way. Alright, let me start it over again. Kicking the shit with a combo. Stepping your block and they call me a honcho. Tripping the sauce ain't no mambo. Bitch, I got water, go get you a Treetop Radio LA, man. We are broadcasting live in Baltimore, Maryland, via Los Angeles, California, man. I'm your host, Big Homie Smiles. You can follow me on Instagram. That's big_homie smiles with a Z. You can also follow our podcast page. That's Treetop Radio LA, man. We are giving out cash prizes. We do have a bunch of. Oh, no, I fucked up again. I got it. Stick with the script, bitch. All right, let me try that one again. I messed up. See, I'm trying to add stuff. Just stick to your thing. All right. Treetop Radio LA, man. We are broadcasting live in Baltimore, Maryland, via Los Angeles, California, man. I'm your host, Big Homie Smiles. You can follow me on Instagram. That's big_homie smiles with a Z. You can also follow our podcast page. That's Treetop Radio LA, man. That is my boy, Been Ready. Been ready on the ones and twos, man. Been ready like we've been ready for justice for Ronald Green, man, out of Louisiana. They out here smoking us. I know he was on a police pursuit and chase, but you know they ain't have to do my man like that, man. Been ready like we've been ready for the stock market to increase and stop decreasing, because man, I just lost a mean little grip, you know what I mean? Hey, today we got a wonderful show. Shout out to my man JT 1800 and Vonnie Bravo for allowing me to use their song on my intro, My Dog. You know what I'm saying? My dog, bah, 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 my dog, bah, bah, bah. They're the hottest young cats coming out of DC, Northeast DC, Northeast. You feel me? Young world. It's a young world, you know. The title of today's show is called The Moor You Know. The purpose of this podcast is to retell our story the correct way. History isn't our story, people. We know this. It's his story. His story, meaning not our story, is for them, not us. You feel me? And we know how distorted their memory is, because when we look and when we go in outside our grandma's house, she got a picture on her mantle of white Jesus. And he's like this. And we know in the Bible it say Jesus' head was full of wool and his skin was bronze. Okay, so we know how distorted their memory can be of our own history. Okay, my goal is to inform my audience about the many different inventors and contributors to things that we use every day. Number one, stoplight. Number two, curling iron. Number three, hair straightening cream. Number four, the dart gun, aka the Nerf gun. You feel me? Super soaker. I mean, I could go on. I've been learning a lot myself. So, you know what I'm saying? I know if I ain't know, I'm sure a lot of my followers didn't know either. You feel me? So my goal is to put the spotlight on inventors and contributors to things that we use every day in this world. They will have you believing that they are the ones God chose to rule this world, because they believe their white skin makes them pure. We created this country and everything in it. You heard? We no longer need to keep teaching ourselves, our kids, our friends about segregation and civil rights and slavery, about how we had to overcome and fight for our rights. It's over for that. That's back then. We in a new age, new millennium, 21st century. You feel me? That's how they keep us depressed and how they keep us in an oppressed mind state. We shall reclaim our time by pushing propaganda and truth the way it needs to be pushed. You feel me? I think that is very important for us as a culture, and for us as and for me as a Black woman, to make sure that we are spotlighting all of our qualities and all of our accomplishments, all of our inventions and contributors that we have in our culture and our society, because our government and our world that we live in wants to suppress our history. They want to suppress who we are as a people. They want to suppress our contributions, our inventions that make this world go round. They want to tell us that things didn't happen like they really did. You know, they want to whitewash our history. They want to put a white person in place of the Black person. You know what I'm saying? Is I don't like it. So we start a new era. We start a new day. We reclaiming our time. We reclaiming our history as well. Hey, did y'all know though that African American inventors, right? They continue to make life easier and work more profitable for individuals, businesses, and communities well into the 20th and 21st century. So a lot of reasons why a lot of these long businesses, these businesses that's been in our communities for so long is because a black man or woman has helped them, save money, make more money based on their inventions and contributions. Just to give y'all a quick fact and some quick knowledge, some things that I knew about but maybe didn't know as much about. So I came across a gentleman named Mansa Musa. Now Mansa Musa was the wealthiest African Muslim king. That's before Jeff Bezos, my man. That's before Bill Gates. That's before Warren Buffett. Mansa Musa was a black African Muslim king, the richest in the history of the world. Nobody else richer than this man right here. Mansa means sultan, right? It means king or emperor. It's the title given to Musa Keita, the 10th king of the West African Islamic Mali Empire, right? So he ruled Mali from 1312 to barely about 1337. In this period, the Mali kingdom, though, was said to have the largest produce of gold in the world. Now, I want y'all, before I finish, I want y'all to think Midas touch. Just keep that in y'all mind. Midas touch, the Midas touch. Okay. So he was known to have the largest produce of gold in the world. This led to Mansa Musa to be one of the richest people in history. He was so rich, man. Shorty was so rich and wealthy. It was reported that he would reportedly as being inconceivably rich by his contemporaries. But his story will have you believe that King Midas, remember when I say his story, that's history. His story will have you believe that King Midas, a Greek myth, was an actual person when y'all know what I mean when I say they, the white man, used history to tell lies. So the white Greeks and Romans, they made up a myth, a story. This man was Midas, King Midas, right? And so King Midas could touch everything, and everything he touched was to gold. Now white people so envious and so upset and mad that we out here actually owning gold. They had to create a figment of their imagination. And this dude Midas was such a prude and was so wild and wrong as a king. He turned anything into gold, and he wanted this ability to turn everything gold. He couldn't even enjoy food, have love. You know what I'm saying? So that's just I wanted y'all to I just want to throw that in there just to let y'all know that whitewashing is real. King Midas was a person that the white man came up with after they read about Mansa Musa, a real king out here owning gold. You feel me? So let's get into this, man. We're gonna talk about some inventors and contributors in the 20th and 21st century. So for my first inventor, we have William Harry Barnes. William Harry Barnes was born in 1887. He passed on in 1945. William Harry Barnes was an ear, nose, and throat doctor at the Frederick Douglass Hospital. Producer. See, that's why they made it that Midas. Everything he touched, well, it's gold because when you produce something, you use your hand. Right. Right. So he was the producer of gold. He had so much gold. He didn't. There's a difference from saying producer and then having, like, actually creating, gathering whatever it is that you get gold. They produce gold. Right. Okay. You see why it's similar? Because when you produce some things with your hands, yes, that's why they put Midas touch that he touched because he produced it. Well, when you touch something, you turn something. He was turning something into gold. Yeah. But look up the word produce, so you know, because it's more than just he had gold. He made it. Produce means you make it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. But look it up. But when he said he's the producer of gold. But how's it sounding so far? Is it sounding good? Today's the anniversary. And I don't know about anniversary of what? Of Floyd's death. Oh, right. But also that high speed chase. If you run a high speed chase, I don't care if you're white or Okay. So I'll leave that out. Because it's a high speed chase. You know how many people you could kill with a high speed chase? Yeah. You could cause accident. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's why it's always gonna look like he's in the wrong. They shouldn't have killed him, but police officer are gonna make it seem like he was a threat. Right. Because he did a high speed chase. He endangered a whole community. Yeah. It's different if they pulled him over and they beat him up like that. Right. You see the difference? Yeah. Okay. William Harry Barnes was an ear, nose, and throat doctor at the Frederick Douglass House in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Shout out to my PA gods and queens, man, out there. He invented a medical instrument that allowed doctors to reach in the pituitary gland much more easily. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the pituitary gland it's a small bean-shaped gland situated at the base of your brain, somewhat behind your nose and between your ears. Despite its small size, though, the gland influences nearly every part of your body. This is the most important gland in your body. It allows you to produce hormones. It helps you regulate functions such as growth, blood pressure, and reproduction. So without this pituitary gland, you're not growing, you're not reproducing, and you probably got bad blood pressure. Now, he created this invention to allow doctors to reach the pituitary gland more easily. Found on the underside of the brain, the pea-sized pituitary gland secretes hormones directly into the blood. He called this invention a hyphoscope. You're gonna have that right there like that. I was trying to figure out a way to read it, but without people seeing it. Because maybe you need to have something that goes up like this. I used to have something. Just stand right here, right? Oh, but you gotta look in the camera. Yeah, so I was like, I need something like that holds it up, but I have to be able to move the papers. I don't know. Yeah, you're probably gonna want to use your glasses. Yeah, I am. So I'll just have my glasses on, and I'll just read it right here. And I mean, I'll just read it in front of me. I'm not even gonna have it up. But the point is that if you read this enough time, this is why I want. If you practice, if you read this enough time, when you get to number one, you'll know something about William Harris Burn. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And you can glance. You know what I'm saying? Just read it enough, and you could come back to it. You could always check. Did I say that? But I guess they won't see it when it's like this, can they? No, they can't. They gotta have it somewhere. But you just can't see yourself. I mean, I can see myself. And we can't see the guy. Yes, we can. You in front of him. No, I'm in front of him. Oh. Why is the color like that? Did you change something? No, we must have hit it or something. And that light from the outside. Put it on the screen. I'll back it up so. I had it the right. Oh, there you go. I had it the right way. Because I know you want to show his face. Yeah. It doesn't seem like. There we go. It's like you're in his face. Remember when we told you to move it? So no, you gotta maybe go that way. Yeah. You gotta make sure that you can at least. Why we can't see his face? That you can at least see his face, right? And you're the one in the middle. Yeah. I want you to be in the middle. So you gotta make sure when you're doing your stuff that you are in the middle. Okay. Okay? Yeah. You gotta make sure. You want some? No, continue. Okay. All right. Dr. Barnes also perfected a way to remove a patient's tonsil in just 10 minutes with no bleeding. How phenomenal are we, man? We making things easier for doctors. We making people more money for businesses by using less parts, but it's more efficient. Like, come on, we like that out here. And they got y'all believing that we just savages and criminals. You feel me? Number two, Leonidas Berry. Leonidas Berry was born in 1902. He passed on in 1995. He was also a doctor. He invented the Eaterberry biopsy gastroscope in 1955. His invention made it easier for doctors to collect tissue from the inside of the stomach without surgery. So those of you who may be having stomach issues or maybe trying to go through a bypass surgery, gastro bypass surgery. These are some of the tools that they may use to make sure, your stomach's right and they don't see, there's no cancer or nothing up in there. 5 years after inventing the gastroscope, though, Dr. Berry studied the stomachs of alcoholics. He discovered that it was liver. Come on, man. He discovered that it was liver and not the stomach that became diseased because of too much alcohol. So for years, can you imagine before Dr. Berry came and discovered that it's the liver that is the main reason behind the disease and not the stomach, that these white doctors was diagnosing people with alcohol disease the wrong way. They was out here telling them it was the stomach when the whole time it was the liver. So you needed a black man for that. You feel me? So he discovered that it was the liver and not the stomach, and he discovered that it was the liver and not the stomach that became disease because of too much alcohol. This changed the diagnosis and treatment of alcoholism forever. So if it wasn't for my man Dr. Berry getting all the berries in the bowl, we would know that alcoholism is caused by the liver and not the stomach. You feel me? Dr. Shirley Jackson, this is my favorite one. I really like this one right here because she's a black woman and we like that. You know what I'm saying? So Dr. Shirley is an American physicist who received her PhD from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in 1973. She was the first African American woman to earn a doctorate in a nuclear physics at MIT. So if you are into math and you know about MIT, that's really a tough school. It's really very hard to get into that school. You really got to be the creme de la creme. You feel me? So she was in that joint, and she did her doctorate in nuclear physics. Boy, what you talking about? In addition to her lengthy list of academic achievements, she also has an impressive number of inventions under her belt. So not only is she a mathematician, right? She's a nuclear physics, like a rocket scientist. You feel me? She also has some inventions under her belt, right? Her experiments with theoretical physics paved the way for numerous developments in the telecommunication space, including the touch tone phone, the portable fax, caller ID, call waiting, and fiber optic cable. So let's just break this down. A black woman came up with the touch tone phone. So if you're looking on your cell phone and you see numbers, doop, 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 that was her, Dr. Shirley Jackson. If you go into a Staples or Office Depot and you faxing something to somebody else, guess who that was? Dr. Shirley Jackson. If you have call waiting and you owe some people some money and you look at your phone and it say the nigga I owe, hey, the reason why you able to screen that call is because of Dr. Shirley Jackson. You feel me? It's because of her. Black woman, man. Look, come on. We want to screen. We ain't trying to talk to nobody. I know that was the thoughts in her head. And this is the most powerful one. Fiber optic cable. Come on. Y'all know Verizon. I was a salesperson. So I'm like a true salesperson. I sold everything. I've been in sales, all type of sales. So Verizon fiber optic cables is one of the main things that they be pushing, you know what I'm saying? Because this fiber optic cable is like the top of the line, is like space stuff. You get clear reception, clear TV, you know what I'm saying? So for her to have come up with that, and the white man is still using it and getting money off of it, it just goes to show how our history has to be rewritten by us, because the white man ain't gonna do it. Let me tell you. Today, Dr. Shirley Jackson is the 18th president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. So shout out to Dr. Shirley Jackson. She's amazing, and we thank her for her contributions and inventions to this wonderful, wonderful Black world we living in. Okay. So the next one, number 4, we got Bessie Blount Griffin. Miss Blount. Hey, Pastor Blount, Miss Griffin. It's like, no. She was born in 1914. She was a physical therapist who worked with veterans coming back from World War II. Many of the soldiers at the Veterans Hospital in Chicago she worked with were amputees and had loss of the and use of their limbs. So what Dr. Griffin did, what Miss Griffin did was she created a portable receptacle support. So what that is, it's a device that consisted of a tube attached to a bowl, which was connected to a brace attached to the patient's neck. It allowed the wearer to eat an entire meal without assistance. This allowed amputees to have more freedom and independence. So before we had the fake limbs and the fake arms and stuff like that, we had this by Bessie Blount Griffin. She created something for our amputees and our veterans out there to be more efficient for themselves and don't feel like, they're handicapped and stuff like that. So thank you. Shout out to Bessie Griffin, man. Number 5, we have Otis Boykin. I just like saying his name. Boykin. Yeah, Boykin. Otis Boykin was born in 1920. He passed on in 1982. He had an incredibly diverse career. He invented a machine used to control heart pacemakers, parts for guided missiles and computers, an electronic air filter, and a cash register that thieves couldn't break into. Come on. You know that register why the cashier be like, I don't know how to get into it. It's so hard. That's because my man Boykin created a cash register that thieves couldn't even get into. You know what I'm saying? And Boykin worked in Chicago and in Paris, France. So shout out to Otis Boykin for creating a machine to control the pacemaker, making missiles, parts to the missiles, and also creating a cash register for my thieves they can't break into. We appreciate you. This is my favorite inventor right here. I like this guy. This is George Carruthers, right? George Carruthers was born in 1939. He invented the far ultraviolet camera spectrogram in 1969. It was plated, and guess what? It was plated in gold, nigga. My man's so official. They plated his invention in gold. They plated it in gold and carried it to the Apollo 16 mission, where it was placed on the moon's surface so they could take pictures. The camera was ultraviolet light invisible to the naked eye to capture high quality images of Earth. So when you on Google or whatever, and you know what I'm saying, you trying to type in pictures of the Earth. You type in pictures of the Earth and you see all the pictures of the Earth all the way around. You know what I'm saying? You know the Earth not flat. You know it's round. That's because of my man George Carruthers. And without his information, y'all wouldn't be seeing the Earth in outer space. Thank you. Carruthers' inventions help scientists see how air pollution forms. This allowed them to develop new ways to control air pollution. Come on, man. In California, they using this right now. They got like green. Everything's green and the pollution is low in Cali. You feel me? That's because of my man George Carruthers. The camera also found hydrogen in deep space, which led to new ideas about the birth of stars in the universe. So if any of you guys are a scientist or are into science, you know that hydrogen is a gas that forms stars. Straight up. It's an atom. It's atoms. It's atoms in the space that form stars and stuff like that. So my man was a genius. He helped these NASA scientists do a lot of things and discover a lot of things. So I'm just give you some information though. Scientists estimate that hydrogen makes up 90% of all atoms in the universe. It is the only element that exists without neutrons. Hydrogen becomes a liquid at very low temperature and high pressure. Around 10% of the mass of the human body is hydrogen. Just some cool information, for your knowledge, the more you know. So number 7, we're going to get into some contributors to the 20 and 21st century. We're going to go to my Afro Latinos, you know what I'm saying? Because they too are contributors to our culture. They are still our brethren and our sister. They just are our foreign brethren and sister. You know what I'm saying? They still have to struggle the same struggle that Black people have. You know what I'm saying? So my number 7, this lady, her name is Marian Jimenez Romans. Her influence is expansive, but perhaps nothing is more strongly felt as her book, The Afro-Latina Reader. History and Culture in the United States. Muniz leads the Afro-Latino Forum, which is dedicated to raising the awareness of Afro-Latinos in the U.S. She has used her own experiences as a Black Puerto Rican to educate the world on Afro Latinidad and to bridge the gap between the presence of African Americans and Latinos in the U.S. She created spaces and outlets for Black Latinos that previously didn't exist and addressed issues that often go ignored. Along with their co-editor, Juan Flores Roman, conducted informative workshops with middle school students and discovered that many had hard times understanding Afro Latina Day. So, for those of you who are not familiar with our Afro Latina family, those are our family members that have our same skin tone and complexion, you know what I'm saying? But they absolutely do not, in some cases, speak any English. They don't speak, you know what I'm saying, what we consider English or our native language of English. You know what I'm saying? They speak Spanish. They're Hispanic, you know what I'm saying? So, I can understand where that gap and where that bridge needed to be created, because I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of ignorant, you know what I'm saying? And my woman, who is Afro Latina, you know what I'm saying, she had to talk to me and let me know, look, we went to Puerto Rico for like almost a month, and I was just baffled. I was flabbergasted that I seen somebody who looked smack like me, that probably looked like they was from DC or something like that, Capitol Heights, something like that. And I go to talk to them, and they're like, "No sé, por qué?" I'm like, "Bruh, you speak English, bruh." But they don't, you know what I'm saying? So these are some things that we have to do as African Americans here in the United States. We have to make sure that we are bridging the gap and we are not excluding, we are not separating ourselves from our Afro Latina brethren. You know what I'm saying? Because we all on that same plight, and that's for freedom and to be, recognized. Number 8, Perry Thomas. Perry Thomas wrote a book called Down These Mean Streets. It was a memoir. It was a noteworthy memoir, as a matter of fact, in the Afro Latina Day community, especially in the United States. In this book, Perry Thomas discussed the racism, identity issues, poverty he experienced during his lifetime growing up in Spanish Harlem in New York City. The Cuban Puerto Rican creator created a piece of literature that shone a light on his community. So not only do we notice that in just in my show, I want y'all to just to remember, not only am I spotlighting African American contributors and inventors, I'm also spotlighting my Afro Latina contributors and inventors, because they are very much important, just as we are in the push of propaganda that is necessary, of truth. You know what I'm saying? So we have to remember that Black people ain't the only ones that contributed to greatness. It was also our Afro Latina brethren as well. Number 9, we have Jose Silos Barboso. He was a physician, a sociologist, and a politician. He was also one of the first Puerto Ricans and persons of African descent to receive a medical degree in the U.S., but he also made history in plenty other ways. He served in an executive cabinet under Puerto Rican Governor Charles H. Allen and joined the first Puerto Rican Senate. Barbosa, who advocated for statehood, also established El Tiempo, the island's first bilingual newspaper. So shout out to my man, Jose Barbosa, man. He is an innovator and a contributor definitely to the Afro-Latina history in the United States, especially, and in Puerto Rico too, man. Because it's for my people out there too. Because when I was in Puerto Rico, I did a couple shows out there. I did a couple podcasts out there, and I learned some information about that guy Saint Cristobal, and how he stole the land from the original people who was the indigenous indigenous Tayos. They're Indians, and what they did was they built a fort around the land and kept them out and kept them on the forefront. So when they got attacked by different people from Europe trying to steal that particular island, Puerto Rico, San Juan over there, they'll be hit first. So I mean, it's a lot of history that especially in America, we don't learn about, and about the racism and about the different issues that our foreign brethren and sister have to deal with too on a daily basis. Even right now, you know what I'm saying, they don't really have advocates too much out there for them, you know what I'm saying? So we have to be that voice, we have to be that bridge, you know what I'm saying? So number 10, The late television news anchor Gwen Phil, R.P. to her, whose father was of Panamanian and Barbadian descent, left a mark on American media. As one of the first Black women to host a nationwide televised public affairs program in the United States, she paved the way for other journalists of color. Eiffel worked for the Washington Post, the New York Times, NBC, PBS, and became the first Black woman to moderate a vice presidential debate. After her debate in 2016, PBS published a piece titled Dear Gwen. Letters from female journalists of color she inspired would show how deep her legacy is. For Gwen, championing diversity in journalism was necessary. This is a quote from her. Diversity is essential to the success of the news industry, and journalists must include diverse voices in their coverage in order to reach a broader audience. We have stories to tell, but many in our audience have stopped listening because they can tell that we are not talking about them, Eiffel said. In fall 2018, Simmons College is set to rename its new media arts program after the journalist, calling it the Gwen Eiffel College of Media Arts and Humanities. So that just goes to show how powerful we are, especially as Black women. That just shows you that if we see more of ourselves, especially in the media and its more positive images, it inspires others to want to follow in their footsteps. You know what I'm saying? So we need more positive Black images. We need more positive representation. We don't have to just be represented through entertainment. You know what I'm saying? I did a paper on that when I was in college called The African American Experience, where my white Irish professor, Dr. DeForest, gave me an F because he said Black people don't have the exclusive right to be of claiming slavery, because he said that Irish people were slaves. Y'all know I took that paper to the dean and she gave me the right proper grade. Fuck he talking about, boy. They was indentured slaves. They just had to work to buy their freedom. And that was it. They didn't have a history of slavery and killing them. Like, come on. And that's the thing. That's another thing. I'm digressing, but that's another thing we have to understand, that I was attending a historically Black college being taught African American studies by a white man. Like, what? Johnson C. Smith University bumped their damn head. Like, what, boy? Get out of here. And he pushing all this bullshit. Boy, I'm getting mad. I'm getting triggered. I'm triggering myself. Let me get back to on topic. Okay, number 11, we got Santeria San Juan native Sylvia Del Villar was no stranger to the performing arts. The actress, dancer, and activist faced discrimination as she pursued her studies at Fisk University. But it was when she moved to New York City where Del Villar began to take an interest in her roots. Joining a ballet group called the African House, she also went on to establish the Afro Burka El Coqui Theater, which the Pan American Association of the New World Festival named as the most important authority of Black Puerto Rican culture. Come on. Shout out to my Panamanians, man. Shout out to my Black Puerto Ricans. We out here, boy. I'm included too, because I'm just now considering myself Hispanic. I'm a Black Afro Latina too as well. Number 12, we have Felipe Luciano, is the founder of the Young Lords. Hey, Young Lord. Y'all remember that song in the joint? Who sang that song too? I forget. Oh, that's Kanye West. Hey, Young World. Oh, did he say Young World or Young Lord? Oh, God. Oh. Whoops. Oh, hey, Young World was a Young Lord. Oh, okay. So, Felipe Luciano is the founder of the Young Lords New York branch, a Puerto Rican activist group started in Chicago and New York City with the same missions as the revolutionary Black Panther Party. So, come on. Right there, it tells you that we are not really different. We are the same, but we are fighting for the same causes. You feel me? So the young Lord was indisputably the main catalyst for the second U.S. based Burka generation's baptism into radical politics. Luciano focused on the liberation of oppressed communities. Luciano also grew up underprivileged to a single mother, and even though the struggles, he was determined enough to go to college and pursue an education. Getting involved in student activism on campus is what led to the creation of the Young Lords and to him joining the original Last Poets, a coalition of African American and Afro Puerto Rican poets. So if you're not familiar with the original Last Poets, I think you should check them out on YouTube. They are very powerful black brothers, man. Still to this day pushing for for the revolution, you know what I'm saying? Pushing for the elevation in us, man. It's so shout out to the Last Poets. There's some real gnarly dudes, man. So number 13, we have Lonnie Johnson. Lonnie Johnson was born in 1945. He used to build robots and cook up batches of rocket fuel in his kitchen when he was a boy. Now, what cartoon that sound like? What cartoon that sound like, people? Don't that sound like Jimmy Neutron? Was not Jimmy Neutron cooking up rocket fuel in his mom's kitchen and bathroom? Okay, this another whitewashing. White Jimmy Neutron is really Lonnie Johnson. Let me tell y'all, they stole. They done whitewash. Okay, so Lonnie Johnson, born in 1949, he used to build robots and cook up batches of rocket fuel in his kitchen when he was a boy. Like, come on, he was a boy cooking up rocket fuel. As an adult, he worked on NASA's Mars Observer Project and on the Cassini-Huygens mission to Saturn. Dr. Johnson used his training in astrophysics to invent more down-to-earth tools and toys. What did Jimmy Neutron make? Tools and toys that was more easy to use for the doctors and for the scientists, man. Like, if y'all not waking up right now when I'm reading this shit, y'all is missing it, okay? So Dr. Johnson used his training in astrophysics to invent more down-to-earth tools and toys. He experimented with a heat pump that used water instead of freon, a toxic gas important to astrophysics. Dr. Johnson hooked up the invention to the bathroom sink and saw a powerful stream of water squirt across the room. My man was like, it's a powerful stream of water squirting out this tube. I wonder what could I name this or what could I call it? So he called this invention the power drencher, right? But later on changed it to what? The super soaker. Come on, man. He invented the super soaker, man. Come on. He invented the super soaker, black man. And all you see on the commercials is white little boys. When Jimmy Neutron is supposed to be black. Okay, I'm not going to trigger myself. I can't hit the desk like that. It's going to make noise in my microphone. Okay, number 14. We almost done, people. We almost done, but this is informative and this is information that we need to know, okay? So number 14, Frederick McKinley Jones. Frederick McKinley Jones was born in 1893. He passed on in 1961. He was granted his first patent in 1939 when he invented, get this, a machine that gave out tickets in the correct change. I mean, come on. For those of you who have problems in math like myself, and people try to, the total is 1050 and they want to give you 1175. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Thank you to this guy, man, Frederick Jones, for helping us with that. Because, you know, they did us wrong in schools, man. They ain't really let us learn math. They ain't really focus on us in that. So after fighting in the World War I, he returned to Hullock, Minnesota to work as a mechanic and as the town's movie projectionist. Movies were silent back then. You know, you had Charlie, what's that guy name? Charlie Chaplin, you know, silent black and white films. They required, movies were silent back then, but the first sound movies were called talkies. And they were replacing old silent films. So things began to change. You know how the world shifts when stuff changed, people start moving towards the change, right? So the theaters, it required the theaters though to upgrade their sound system to make it a talking movie. They required equipment that a movie theater couldn't afford. So guess what my man Jones do? To help the white man, because we so like that. He built a sound synchronization machine for less than $100. So now, not only did they just come up, they got $1,000 equipment for $100 less. Y'all like, because my man just used what he knew and made the sound pop and that joint booming. You know what I'm saying? That's thanks to my man Frederick Jones. Thank you. Jones is also most famous for inventing the refrigerated truck. Come on, man. This nigga invented the refrigerated truck. It allowed frozen food to be shipped across the country without spoiling, man. So you got Amazon, you got Walmart, you got what's other stuff? The ice cream truck. The reason why they able to succeed and be and thrive is because of my man Jones, man. He created the freaking freezer. A refrigerated truck. He created a refrigerated truck, bruh. Like, come on, we like that. But they ain't teaching us though in these white schools to these white kids. They even passed a law in Texas, man, to stop teaching about systematic racism. If teachers are being found out teaching about systematic racism, that the state was going to withhold funds from. Like, what type of nutty shit is this? Look, homeschool your kids. Take them out of these public schools. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve your child. They're lying to them. Okay. Number 15, Garrett Morgan. That's my man right here in the background. Let me move out the way so y'all can see him. Yeah, Garrett Morgan, child, like he look like we child look like we could be related. Hold up, let me turn this way. We child look like we could be related on the low ski. So Garrett Morgan is amazing. He's an awesome guy. He was born in 1877. He passed on in 1963. He invented the first straightening cream by accident. So for all you got a kitchen in the back, got naps in your wrap, use that straightening cream, man. My boy get you out of the way, man. He created that on accident though. In his workshop. How long are you gonna be doing this? No, I'm just done. I'm really finished. Finish it. Then I want to use the computer. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, use it. Are you gonna go? You can go over it without. Yeah, I can go over it